This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Get in, loser! Mean Girls is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Join Katie Heron as she meets the plastics in Tina Fey's new twist on the modern classic. Get ready for more of the rumors, backstabbing, and jokes you loved from the original movie with some fetch surprises. Rated PG-13. Wear pink and head to ParamountPlus.com to try it free.
This episode is brought to you by Square Enix. From Square Enix comes Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, named Most Anticipated Game at the Game Awards. Join Cloud Strife and his allies on a world-spanning journey in pursuit of Sephiroth. Explore vast and beautiful lands alongside legendary characters and experience an emotional story where you'll decide the fate of the planet itself. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, out now on PlayStation 5. Visit ff7-rebirth.com to learn more.
PlayStation.
Gold Bond knows that your skin changes all the time. Like waking feeling hydrated, only to have dry skin after a walk on a cold day. Or having dull skin at work, to glowing skin for date night. People don't have one skin, they have skins. And Gold Bond Lotion's clinically proven formulas contain 7 nourishing moisturizers, plus 3 vitamins to help you take care of all of them. For all your skins, Gold Bond. Visit goldbond.com to learn more.
This is Brum's the Word from Anything But Footy, brought to you with Kukri Sports, the official kit provider for Team England. And with a month to go, the only podcast building up to Birmingham 2022 every week. But it's not just us that's gearing up for the games. The bunting's up in Brum, the venues have been tested and readied, and thousands of athletes from across the world are being picked and preparing to put on a show.
And more tickets than ever before are set to be sold for a Commonwealth Games. More than 1 million of them already. Many of them will be hoping to see more Team England success in athletics and netball, a gold medal they won in 2018, in one of the standout moments that I've had the pleasure to witness in person.
So hi, I'm Layla Guscoth. I'm a netballer for Team England for the Commonwealth Games. My name is Jess Thirlby and I'm the Roses head coach for the Team England netball squad.
So 2 of the big team announcements to come, but the Commonwealths bring together a wide range and diverse number of sports and athletes. We've got diving, judo and a top trio of table tennis players too.
We'll have our weekly news from the games and keep listening for that exclusive discount on Kukri's Team England range just for tuning in to our pod.
This is Brum's the Word with Kukri Sports, a podcast from Anything But Footy.
Team England have confirmed their netball squad to defend the title that they first won 4 years ago in the Gold Coast, famously, of course, beating Australia in that final. 12 players, 4 reserves. John's been counting 925 caps between them, 21 Commonwealth Games appearances going back to Manchester 2002, right up to date, of course, and 2018 in the Gold Coast. Commonwealth Games debuts for player of the Superleague season, Layla Guscoth, born and bred in Birmingham. We'll hear from her in a moment. The reserves include Super League Young Player of the Season Fumi Faduja of the London Pulse Club. And after retirement and pregnancy of former skipper Serena Guthrie after the Quad Series this year, we have a new captain in Natalie Metcalfe. Head coach Jess Thirlby told John it wasn't too hard to pick the new one in charge.
Yeah, great news for Serena, and hopefully, her daughter in years to come will feature in a red dress somewhere, maybe in the Olympics. But it wasn't so much a change, I guess, in recent times as we headed into quad. Serena was the captain, but Nat Metcalfe has actually held a number of leadership roles for us over the last 3 years, captain, co-captain, vice-captain, and has worked really closely, not just with Serena, but with a number of players, because leadership's been something I've paid real attention to since I came into the role. So I think we feel like it's quite a seamless transition with Nat coming in as captain, which is great because it gives us continuity. But she's surrounded by so many leaders in this group. So many of these girls have led in an England dress, but we've also got so many that are captains within their domestic clubs, both here and overseas. So we have an abundance of leadership, and we've always spoken passionately about the strength of the collective. And so I think this provides us with a great opportunity, doesn't it, to kind of showcase that in Serena's absence. And I feel like the team have responded brilliantly, which is exactly what I would expect and Serena would expect. And I feel really confident in both Nat, but also Jo Harton returning into a Roses dress to be her vice captain, with both Layla Guscoth and Laura Malcolm within that group as the leadership team. So yeah, very spoilt for choice when it comes to leadership.
We mentioned the Quad Series. Have you got over that, particularly the last quarter? against Australia in the last match?
Oh, I loved the quad series. I thought it was brilliant that we went into a quad series off the back of beating Jamaica on home soil and beating New Zealand away, and with our fans expecting of us to be successful. And I don't think that's a place that England have been in at all, really, over the decades. So it was a real privilege to kind of hear and connect with our fans who expected us to do well, and to get into the first ever final of a quad series and to come second behind Australia, but having played them twice was exactly what we needed when we were unfortunately not able to move into Australia off the back of our New Zealand tour in the autumn. So yeah, I'm over it, moved on, and used it for what it was designed to do, which was to kind of highlight where did we need to pay a little bit more attention. So looking forward to this final kind of 6 or 7 weeks now to put some of that into action with the team.
And since the quad series, of course, we've had Superleague. You've mentioned a few of the players. Layla Guscoth, Player of the Year. Eleanor Cardwell, Players Player, Fans Player. It's important that they're in the squad and they've had such a good season.
Absolutely. And I think our Roses players have represented so well across the Vitality Netball Super League. So many have had great seasons for their respective clubs, and it makes it all the harder to then try and pick a 12 that we believe are going to be robust enough mentally and physically to go through the tournament, but also that are going to connect in a way that's going to counteract our toughest opposition and stay true to the Roses way in which we want to play.
How difficult was it, though, to leave the young Super League player of the season out of the 12? I know that Funmi Fudoja is in the reserve list, but out of the 12.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I almost look at it the other way. It was a brilliant celebration of her performances to include her in the 16. And I think if you look at Fumi's journey, you know, it's been quick. And she's done a lot in a very short space of time. So for me, it's a huge acknowledgement for her to have pushed her way in to be that defensive reserve over and above some really experienced and talented players. So for me, it's great acknowledgement, and her performances aren't lost on us at all. But it's also important to acknowledge her journey to date is still very new, and she's still very young and not as tested internationally, which also it also carries a lot of strength. But we needed to make sure that across the 12, we get to the start line with what we believe to be the right and best team to give us the best chance. So, you know, fingers crossed nothing happens, because we don't want to have to pull on our reserves, because it would obviously be in a scenario we don't want to happen. But if it did, and Fumi found herself in there, we're also incredibly confident with what we've seen out on court that she can have real impact.
A couple more questions. 2018 was a medal moment that nobody will forget in the Commonwealth Games netball final for Team England. But it was the first time you'd won gold. So this is the first time you're defending champions. How are you coping with that?
Yeah, we've spoken a lot around new territory. You know, like even for our most experienced players, Jiva Mentor, her 6th Commonwealth Games, she's never gone into any of those with a gold medal on her neck from the last one. So it doesn't matter how experienced this group are, this is still new territory. But we embrace that. You know, we love the opportunity that's been handed to us so soon after a home World Cup in Liverpool. You know, it will never happen in our lifetimes again to be afforded the chance to walk out on home soil so soon after the World Cup, but also having achieved success in the last Commonwealth Games. We also need to be quite measured in our approach, because we've only ever made one grand final and we happen to win it. And as you say, a real watershed moment for the sport. And I think the impact from that is something that we're really proud of and hope that we can repeat away from the court as well. But the realities are we just need to get ourselves into more grand finals. And that is certainly our intent. We've had a successful 12 months leading into the game. So I think we've pretty much done everything we can to provide ourselves with the confidence and belief. But we've also got a lot of humility that nobody has a right to that final just because you won the last one. You know, this team's changed. And it's about their journey now and about the DNA and what they will leave on this tournament. And we hope, irrelevant of the result and the colour of the medal, or if there's a medal at all, that we can inspire a nation to be talking about us in another couple of months' time because of what they've seen and how they feel connected to us and our performances.
Birmingham 2022 kicks off with Trinidad and Tobago on the Friday, the 29th of July. Can you ease your way into it, or do you got to hit the ground running?
No, I think it's really important to be respectful of all your opposition. We met a month or so ago during the Super League season as a Roses group, and one of the things that we would really want to stay true to is that we embrace every moment and respect every opposition and take one game at a time. Very cliched, but I think if you're not careful, you make that kind of leap to the whether it's a semi-final or a big pool game against New Zealand or a high-ranked team, you make that step up too big because you haven't treated the other games with the respect that they deserve. And we've got a really challenging group with the Calypso girls to start with, but also then Uganda and Malawi and Northern Ireland, a very experienced Northern Ireland team. So none of those teams are going to lie down and let us win easy at all. So we've got to earn it, and actually paying attention in those games exactly in the same way and being consistent with our processes will prepare us better for the games towards the tail end of the tournament. So certainly something we need to practice and kind of really refine over the next couple of weeks whilst we're together.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
So, hi, I'm Layla Guscoth. I'm a netballer for Team England for the Commonwealth Games.
Firstly, Layla, looking at your social media, it says half doctor, half netballer. Now,
yeah.
To me, that sounds like an Avenger.
I wish I was an Avenger. I guess I am. I'm kind of anything between half to 0.7 of one thing at one time, it feels like. But yeah, I'm a doctor and an international netballer, and try my best to float along doing both of them, really.
And the last few years, I mean, that is a heck of a career.
It's an interesting one. And I think, like, for me, they balance each other really well. There's definitely moments where one's a lot harder than the other. And I would be lying if in the past 2 years there hasn't been some quite difficult challenges.
Now, I can't believe it, having read this today, that it's your first Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, it is my first Commonwealth Games. I was at the World Cup, how many years ago was that now? 3 years ago, but not at the Commonwealth Games. In fact, I wasn't even in the England programme kind of for that Commonwealth Games before then. I have been in England since 2012, but I kind of really feel like I've been in it since kind of that back end of 2018, because I think when I was first in it, I was at medical school and like really trying to juggle and spin a lot of plates and wasn't available for certain things, couldn't give my all to training like how I would have wanted to do. So it really feels, I guess, like I kind of started again and started afresh in 2018. And yeah, I'm buzzing for it. I think it'll be so good to be in Birmingham, for my mum and dad to come and watch just down the road. Like it's a great experience and opportunity, and I can't wait to get involved and be a part of it all.
Now, I and my anything but footy partner, Michael, used to live in Birmingham, probably before you were born, Layla. So it's changed so much, though, in the last few years. It's going to put on a really good show, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's going to put a brilliant show on. And, you know, everywhere you go, everyone loves to slag off Birmingham. And it's actually a really great city. And I'm proud to have grown up there for sure. But when you walk around the town centre now and lots of other bits that they've been working on for the Com Games and stuff, I think it's going to be a really good event. And I think it's the perfect size city for it. There's so much going on, and hopefully it will showcase what a great city Birmingham is to, well, the rest of England and the rest of the world as well.
I mean, you've obviously had Superleague where you've had the crowds back for the past 6 months or so, but we went through a season where you didn't have the crowds in. It will be so exciting to have the home fans supporting you in Birmingham. Yeah,
it will be brilliant. And I think, that classic of you don't know how good something is until it's taken away from you. Definitely in the pandemic, it was great that we got to play in 2021, but it really wasn't the same without people being there. So we've certainly had a taste of that with Superleague. But, you know, there's something about playing in those stadiums of that size and it being packed out with fans supporting you that's just really special and makes you think, wow, this is a really cool opportunity. So it'll be really good to have faces there. I think loads of the tickets, most games are pretty much sold out, which is really nice and good for the sport.
So you mentioned your mum and dad coming. Have you managed to get tickets for everyone else? What about the rest of the family?
Yeah, well, the ballot, we've all been balloting for a long time, and it's one of those things I didn't want to jinx anything. So I was saying to my parents, you do it and I don't want to get involved. But yeah, hopefully I think we've got enough to go around, and hopefully people will be able to get some a bit later on, if not. But yeah, hopefully they'll all be able to come down.
So let's talk about your opponents. Starting off with Trinidad and Tobago, then you've got Malawi, Northern Ireland, Uganda. Is it difficult to then not really just think about New Zealand, which is the last game, probably the hardest game in the group? But how do you go about kind of focusing on the group games?
Yeah, I think it's really important too. And I think you never want to underestimate any opposition. And we've not played some of the African nations recently, but certainly looking back towards that World Cup year, we played Uganda and our first game was really close. And so you have to certainly try and build towards the latter end of the competition, but you want to be paying each team the respect they deserve, because it certainly won't be easy at all. And you want to feel like you're building and you're applying the tools that you'd want in a semi-final earlier on, and kind of building that mental kind of resilience and the physical attributes you want to display later on in the competition as well.
And as defending champions, everyone will talk about that game against Australia in 2018. Is it difficult not to get hung up on Australia? They're not even, on your list of opponents as yet.
Yeah. I mean, everyone will always have Australia at the forefront or near the forefront of their mind, because they are the world number one. So for such a long time, they have been the gold standard. But for us, we know that we have beaten them over the years and we can compete with them. But I think no longer is netball a Australia, New Zealand kind of two-horse race. You've got the Jamaicans who are really excelling in multiple leagues across the world. South Africa who are doing really well. And then some of the other nations, which we've just discussed, like Uganda and Malawi, who have a number of star players. So, you don't want to get hung up on Australia, but we're always aware that they are the world number ones. And so they are flying the flag, and we're all out competing and trying to gain that world number one ranking, really.
Last question then. What are you aiming for? Come on, tell us what it's the gold medal, isn't it? That's what we're all going for.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to win. I think we've got a team that's capable of winning. I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't want to go there with the aim of trying to win. And then for myself, I just want to contribute to that in whatever way Jeff sees me doing. Just be there, be part of the team. But yeah, it would be really nice to come away with a gold medal from the Games.
Well, we'll all be cheering you on. Layla Guscoth, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Layla Guscoth and Jess Thirlby. The majority of the squad are now in South Africa, hosts of the World Cup next year, focusing on physical conditioning. And July the 10th is when all the players will come together from across the world. They include Stacey Francis-Bayman, Vice-Captain Joanna Harton, Helen Housby, Eva Mentor, Ebony Asura Brown and George Fisher play their club matches, of course, in Australia and New Zealand. Now, the venue for netball at the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games is the NEC. The defending champions, England, start their campaign on the first lunchtime of the Games. That's Friday, July the 29th. Their opponents are Trinidad and Tobago, and centre pass is at 12 noon.
Can't wait. This is Brum's The Word with Kukri Sports. Still to come, hoping to be on song in ping pong. Sorry. We've Team England table tennis stars, and as mentioned, it's now a month to go, so time to start getting prepped for cheering on Team England. And just for listening, you can get your hands on some summer savings and look the part as well. So go to the full range of official Team England merchandise and some great sports t-shirts, some long sleeves there as well. Go to kukrisports.com, save 10% by using the code ABF2022. That's an exclusive offer just for listening to Anything But Footy.
Now, a huge 72 athletes have been confirmed to be in action in the Alexander Stadium for Team England in track and field at the Commonwealth Games. They are added to the para-athletes, of course, that have already been named. So Dina Asher-Smith, Katarina Johnson-Thompson and Keely Hodgkinson, who I think I mention on the podcast pretty much every time. They lead the list of athletes from 100 metres right through to the marathon. Matthew Hudson-Smith, the Birmingham 400-metre runner who broke the British record earlier this season, also included, but like the Tokyo Olympics, no 4x400-metre men's team for England. Make sure you press follow on wherever you are listening to this edition of Brum's The Word and the podcast from Anything But Footy, because we have an extra special edition this week. We are celebrating 1 month to go before the Games, and we're going to be joined by a few extra special guests, and we'll be hearing from Team England chef de mission, Mark England.
You are teasing us, Michael. You are teasing us. Now, some more news from the Games. England's men's hockey team beat the world and Olympic champions Belgium in the FIH Pro League at Lee Valley in the Olympic Park, winning 3-0 in a shootout after the match ended 2-2. England's women came from behind to win 2-1 against the same opponents, Tess Howard and Grace Boulston scoring the goals.
Now, we do like to talk on this podcast about who's actually competing at the Commonwealth Games rather than who's not. So as the diving squad is announced, let's focus on those selected athletes first of all.
Yeah.
Olympic champions Matty Lee and Jack Law are in there, joined by Olympic medalist Dan Goodfellow, Lois Tolson, who won a medal in the Gold Coast 4 years ago, Noah Williams and Matthew Dixon. All, as I said, have won Olympic or Commonwealth medals previously. They are joined by European medalist Andrea Spendolini-Siriex and British champion Eden Cheng as well. So the main name missing from that list, no Tom Daley in the 18-strong diving squad competing at the Samwell Aquatic Centre. But we knew that already, didn't we?
Well, I think we did, didn't we?
Well, we knew because we had a chat with Tom Daley's coach, Jane Figueiredo, who's back in America at the moment, in Austin, in Texas. And we had a chat with her for something else we're working on for the London Legacy Development Corporation and the My London Legacy podcasts. And she was telling us how she and Tom both decided to take a year off after the Olympics in Tokyo. And that year ends, I think, on the 1st of September was the date. And she said that she knew that Tom wouldn't be back before the 1st of September. She's not going to be back before the 1st of September. She's confirmed, though, she is returning to the diving programme as far as Team GB is concerned. And we wait and hear on whether Tom will definitely be returning. She said that Tom will tell her before he tells anybody else.
We'll look forward to finding that out. We do know that Max Whitlock won't be at Birmingham 2022 competing. Anyway, the three-time Olympic champion's been named, along with a plethora of former sports stars, presenting 200 hours of coverage of the Commonwealths on the BBC this summer. We're obviously delighted it'll be front and centre on your TV for 12 days next month. And Michael, you'll be there for us as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to being part of the Commonwealth Games. I think it will be my third consecutive Commonwealth Games reporting for radio, for Talk Sport and for Times Radio as well. Plus, of course, the podcast as well. We'll be doing daily updates. And you could be with us in Birmingham. Organisers are telling us they're on course to sell more tickets than any other Commonwealth Games in the past. There are still tickets available in some of the bigger venues. So Edgbaston for the Women's Cricket T20, the Coventry Arena, of course, for the Rugby Sevens. I love the Rugby Sevens. It's a thrilling couple of days of sport if you can get your tickets for that one. Also tickets available in boxing, badminton, beach volleyball as well. So you can go down there and check out the Bellow brothers by going to the website birmingham2022.com and you can get all the details. And, well, we'll see you in Birmingham.
Now, he was on the podcast in the last episode. Tom Dean won bronze in the men's 200-metre freestyle at the World Swimming Championships in Budapest. The Olympic champion, who only returned to training at the beginning of the year, was beaten by a new junior world record by 17-year-old Romanian David Popovici. At least he won't be in Birmingham. An all-English team, though, of Dean, James Guy, Jacob Whittle and Joe Litchfield probably will be after winning bronze in the 4x200-metre freestyle relay.
We also mentioned Ethan Hayter on our podcast last week. The English cyclist has retained his national time trial title at the British Road Championships in Dumfries. That is good news for Team England ahead of Birmingham 2022.
Promised you judo, world number one Lucy Renshaw, European champion Gemma Howell and 2014 Glasgow gold medalist Ashley Mackenzie head a 14-strong England judo squad for Birmingham 2022. British judo is of course based down the road in Walsall, so this summer is even more of a home games for them, and we'll be hearing from Lucy in a later edition of Brum's the Word.
And as we mentioned earlier, the NEC Arena will be staging the netball at Birmingham 2022. But there's also going to be badminton, boxing and table tennis in the NEC halls. 13 table tennis and para-table tennis athletes have been confirmed by Team England. John has been catching up with some of them, including Jack Hunter Spivey, Charlotte Bardsley and first, the defending doubles champion from Chesterfield, Liam Pitchford.
I kind of expected it, but still, nonetheless, it's a great achievement, obviously, to be selected and to be putting on the Team England shirt again. 4
Commonwealth Games now you'll have been to. Is that something that you thought about when you went to the first one?
No, not really. Obviously, I was pretty young back then, 17. Time's flown since then, but yeah, it was. I was kind of a deer in headlights then, and to win 2 medals in my first games was something I never expected, and then obviously that spurred me on to be better and to win more medals. So 4 silvers, 3 bronze. To finally win the gold was kind of a weight off my shoulders, because I always knew it was possible, and I just could never get over the line. And when we finally did, it was kind of all the emotions came out. And I think, again, it's proven to me, I can do it, and I know what I need to do to win the gold again. So hopefully I'm in a good place in Birmingham, and there'll be a few more, hopefully.
Liam, it's really interesting that you have been in the world rankings around 14 for the last 2 or 3 years. I think 12 was the highest, and 13, and that's so consistent. That you must be really proud of that level that you're playing at.
Yeah, I am. I am in a way, and in a way, I always want more. That's the thing. My aim was to break in the top 10, and it's not quite happened yet, but obviously I've still got time. I feel like, just before lockdown, I was obviously playing probably some of the best table tennis of my life, probably in the form of my life, and lockdown happened. Obviously, Olympics got cancelled. Probably came at the worst time for me, and then after that, I kind of struggled to get back to the form I was in. But I'm just working in the hall every day, trying to be better, and I feel like I'm coming good, and I know what I need to do. So at the moment, that's all I can do, and I'm still competing at the highest level. Like you say, my ranking's still where it is. I just need to be getting more of the bigger wins to break that top 10.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Bardsley. I play table tennis, and I've qualified to represent England at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. It's been a lot of hard work that's gone into this, and many years of hard work. So I'm really proud and happy that all of that work has paid off in the end. The Commonwealth Games is every 4 years. It's not something that just happens every year. So it takes a lot of time, planning to think about where I would be in 4 years' time, just so that, I'm giving myself the best chances to qualify. So 2 years ago, after I left sixth form, I moved abroad on my own to play full time for 2 years in order to get myself at the level needed to be good enough to qualify, to improve, basically.
Yeah, tell us about that, because it's not something we quite understand, I don't think, in this country. The Germany Pro League, it's the Bundesliga, effectively.
Yeah, Bundesliga, yeah. I sort of reached a certain level in England, and that was sort of out as far as I could get, and I obviously wanted something more challenging, and in order to get better, I needed to play against better people, more experienced players. So I moved there to play full time. So I practiced around 6 hours every day, and then I would play league matches on the weekend. So I played second division Bundesliga and loads of matches against loads of experienced players, sort of thing I wouldn't have been able to get if I'd have stayed at home, and it definitely improved my game a lot, and that's why I was able to qualify. So I practiced in Wolverhampton, and all my coaches are from this area as well, and they've played in Commonwealth Games, so I feel really happy that for once actually my parents and family and friends can actually watch me play, because normally I'll be competing in another country, or I was in Germany for 2 years, or I'm competing in England but it's at some random place, it's not. So for them to see me competing in a massive competition and seeing me play, and it's just a really nice feeling.
My name's Jack Hunter Spivey. I'm a Paralympic bronze medalist. Still strange saying it now. It's it's an incredible thing to say.
What does it mean representing the red of Team England?
It's an absolute honour. That's the only way I can explain it, is to represent Team England, especially at home games. That's something that I dreamed of as a kid, to play in front of a big crowd. I grew up watching the London 2012 Olympics and Paralympics, and I wanted to be part of it. And I was a bit young at the time, but I remember them experiences like it was yesterday, and just to be able to get myself in front of a home crowd and hopefully bring back a medal for Team England, it'd be absolutely incredible. And it's such an honour to represent England at the highest level I can do.
And I joked earlier about the red of England. I'm assuming you're a red Scouser.
Absolutely, yeah, through and through. Liverpool Football Club runs through my family's blood for generations. I'm a big red. I'm lucky enough to be the disabled ambassador for the club as well. So very stressful season to be a Liverpool fan. It was something to be enjoyed. Just happy to be successful as a football club, really.
What does it mean as well, Jack, having the para events alongside the Commonwealth Games events in Birmingham?
I think it's great. I think it's great to have Olympic and Paralympic sports side by side. At the end of the day, whether you have got physical disabilities, whether you're an able-bodied, we're all elite athletes. We're all professional athletes playing world-class sport, and that's what it should be viewed as. And I think the Commonwealth Games is great in having both events combined. For me personally, it's fantastic to compete alongside Liam and Tintin and Paul and Charlotte and Maria and everyone that's down. It'll be incredible to just get on with them, to see how they prepare for matches, how they conduct themselves on the table. What can I learn from them and what can I learn from me? And I think it's incredible just to have that sort of togetherness of elite sport and not be divided into Olympic and Paralympic sports.
This is Brum's The Word from Anything But Footy, brought to you with Kukri Sports, the official kit provider for Team England. For all your bespoke sportswear needs, go to their website, which is kukrisports.com.
So a month to go, a month before the fun and games begin, Birmingham 2022 is ready to put on a show, and we'll continue to count down to the Commonwealths. And listen out for that extra special podcast this week.
Social Podcast Network.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.